story for you. When I finished music school, I had been playing guitar for about 15 years. Before music school, my background in music learning was a pretty equal mix of self-taught study and a few different private lessons here and there. Because I was mainly self-taught, I had picked up quite a few bad habits that didn't really lend themselves well to the professional music world. In other words, I had a lot of unlearning and relearning to do. By the time I was finished with music school, my head was so full of information that I was basically burned out and completely overwhelmed about the guitar. I was lacking in motivation and I didn't have any direction at all. My head was so full of things I thought I needed to do all at once and chase every road I could see that I became stifled and therefore rendered another lost musician. Basically, I needed a pretty big perspective shift if I was going to continue with my passion for playing the guitar and finding my way in music. But this horrible phase that I was going through actually ended up helping me out because I was forced to really think about what I wanted. I recommend sitting down, maybe even with a journal, and writing out specifically what you love about the guitar and music. Your personal motivation is super important. So once you have that written down, you should go back and check in with it on a regular basis. It's sort of like when a company has a mission statement. Because once I zeroed in on what I love about music and the guitar, I could focus my practice time and goals, and my playing improved drastically. This process made me narrow my focus to only the things that truly mattered to me. I started with what music I like to listen to and the main guitarists that were involved in this music. These were guitar players that really inspired me in that moment. Many of these were primarily fingerstyle guitar players. A huge one is Tommy Emmanuel. Other players like Blake Mills. I started to get into Brazilian style guitar like samba and bossa nova, which led me to the Brazilian guitarist Ben Powell. Amazing music. This was guitar at its finest for me in that moment. So much good harmony and rhythm. These guitarists were playing chords and melody at the same time, and their improvisational playing was outstanding. This became my focus at that time. I narrowed my study to fingerstyle playing for a while. I watched a whole lot of their performances, I listened to their records, and analyzed their playing. Through that process, I realized how to funnel what I had learned in my previous 15 years, including everything I was taught at music school, right into this style. By the way, to find more in-depth lessons on everything, including complete beginner to advanced guitar learning, click the link in the description below for a free ultimate beginner guide that includes an essential chord chart, a practice plan, a walkthrough of some beginner pitfalls to avoid, plus a whole lot more. Okay, back to the story. Now, as you can imagine, my motivation started to build and I started to make more progress on guitar than I ever had. I really started to understand how harmony and melody work together with this style. So a lot of times you're playing chords and you're playing melody over it. So this type of playing where you're playing chords with melody, you're playing chord shapes that you know. I'm starting here with a very simple G shape, learning how to play melody around it. This was huge for me in working through this style. Also just hearing the right notes over a chord. So a lot of times we're stuck, playing scales, which is all good, but it also helps, when you're playing chords, maybe you go to a chord that's a little bit new and you have to think, which notes sound good over that chord? That sounds pretty good. Sounds kind of interesting. This one doesn't sound so good. All of that process happens when you're working through a new style that you're excited about. Now, also when I was working through this, I was forced to slow way down, especially when practicing a specific rhythm. So say I was taking this thing, to be able to play it to a groove or in time, figuring out the picking pattern, you have to slow it way down. You really have to work out what's going on with each hand, get the rhythm right, get the melody right, get the strings, and then if you can count to it out loud, that helps as well. All of these things are really good. I had to really break down all of these things and focus on them. Now, they weren't easy, but at least there was a clear path of what I needed to work on. Now, the happy ending to this story is that my love for guitar and music returned again. I was no longer confused or overwhelmed, and I was actually quite grateful about all the things that I learned at music school as well. Now, I am by no means a master at fingerstyle guitar, but it was a great starting point that launched my motivation into learning more and eventually having the courage to put myself out there and start getting gigs. Shortly after, I got a great gig backing a singer playing all fingerstyle guitar. It all came together and everything helped, even the moments where I was totally lost. All this to say, learn as much as you possibly can. Take advantage of platforms like Guitar Tricks where you can find everything you need to get going. My advice to you is to narrow your approach, focusing on a style that you love, and let the motivation build from there. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, would love it if you would give it a like and a subscribe. Also be sure to enter your email for a free beginner guitar guide linked in the description, or you'll see it on the next screen. We'll see you later.